First of all, laughter is just good, full stop. There doesn't have to be anything deep about it. Laughter is good, fun, and it makes all sorts of things happen in your body that make you feel good. That's it. But there is more than that.
Welcome to A Beautiful Fix. I'm Tracy Hill. Each week we'll dive into the latest thought gem, recharging and reconnecting with what lights you up and makes you feel alive. Let's discover your next beautiful fix together. Hey, real quick before we dive in, you're powerful. And sometimes you just need someone to remind you what's already in you. That's what human design does. It's the difference between guessing and knowing. So you can stop searching outside yourself and start trusting the answers within. I promise you they're there. Grab your free chart at abeautifulfix.com, and when you're ready to go deeper, book a one-to-one session with me. All right, let's get into the episode. Quick question for you. When was the last time you laughed so hard you couldn't breathe? Full body, can't catch your breath, belly hurting, tears in your eyes kind of laughter. And why does that feel so good? Today, we're talking about that. And one of the reasons why I want to talk about this just really quickly is because a beautiful fix, it is getting your daily dose of something beautiful. That can be a conversation, nature, whatever, but comedy is certainly at the top of that list. So today I'm joined by Lynn Harris, founder of Gold Comedy, a comedy school, creative community, and content studio where women use humor to build confidence, connection, and even entire careers. Lynn believes comedy isn't just about being funny. It's a life skill. It helps us think sharper, communicate better, and move through life with more resilience. And over the past several years, she's lived that in a very real way, caring for 4 aging parents while navigating loss and challenge. What carried her through was humor. She's also a generator with sacral authority and a 2-4 profile in human design, which means she's designed to follow what lights her up and build meaningful connections that naturally expand her world. Lynn, welcome to A Beautiful Fix.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So I want to start with you and your story, but first, for someone who's listening to this who might not immediately think this is for them, why should their ears perk up when we start talking about comedy and laughing?
Your ears should perk up because, as you said, first of all, laughter is just good, full stop. It's just there doesn't have to be anything deep about it. Laughter is good, good, fun, and it makes all sorts of things happen in your body that make you feel good. That's it. But there is more than that. And that is, I do think a lot of people, when they hear the word comedy, they might have certain images or ideas that make it easy for them to say, okay, but not that. Meaning, people sometimes think that, all comedians have a similar personality, that we're all loud or that we're all super confident, whatever that means, or that we have just kind of one way of being. That is not true. They might also think that, I'm not funny, which I can go on about at great length on that one. But the short version of that is funny comes in a lot of different formats, a lot of different styles, and a lot of different packages. And being the humor that you have, you already are funny. You have the tools and you have the material. You don't have to have a certain personality. You don't have to have a certain life. You don't have to be one of those people to whom wacky things happen. It's just a matter of paying attention, maybe learning some tools if you want to, and then finding a way to be who you already are, just with more funny. And that is accessible to everyone. And
I
the
love
last
it.
thing I'll say is that women also, I think women in particular, and this is not our fault, tend to be the first people to say, "Oh, I'm not funny," or "I could never do comedy," etc. And that is, and again, I hastened to say that is not our fault. It's not like, because I think a lot of times people say, not you, but a lot of times people say, well, women just need to build confidence and that will fix everything. But it turns out that women have been building confidence for centuries and we are still screaming into the void. And that's because it's not on us. We don't live in a world that was built for us. We don't live in a world that listens to us. We don't live in a world that thinks we're funny. So for us to develop the confidence or whatever it is that it takes to just kind of like bring more humor in our lives, it's so much easier than we think, because it's not about it's not all about fighting the centuries of bias that built a world that doesn't listen to us. It's just about doing it our way. And that is much closer and much more attainable than you think.
Okay, there's so much in there that I would love to unpack, and we're gonna get through a lot of it. But first, start off with your story. Like, how did comedy become your thing?
There's not, I hate to disappoint, there's not really a deep story here in terms of like an origin story. I just liked comedy. Comedy was the conversation in my house. My parents weren't comedians per se, but they were funny. They liked comedy. They were good, if nothing else, a good audience, but they were also funny themselves, just naturally. And it was just what was on in the house. If it wasn't opera, it was Carol Burnett, The Muppet Show,
Yes.
MASH, The Jeffersons, all the variety shows, Captain and Tennille, Laugh-In. All the like nutty movies like Airplane and The Russians Are Coming, like Monty Python, like that was as high art in our house as like the Ring Cycle. Yeah. And so it was just normalized in our house as like, that's what there is. Who wouldn't be listening to comedy or watching comedy? And I will say that at the time, I was shown so many women comics, so many. In fact, probably like the ones that stood out to me were the women, because they were funny. Lucille Ball, obviously, Miss Piggy, but nobody. She's back. But nobody that I was aware of, nobody called them. At least in my space, nobody called them women comics. They were just comics. So I didn't think of them as different. I just thought that was comedy. And I'm not saying it was a more enlightened time, because in many ways it absolutely was not. But that distinction was not communicated to me. So I didn't think, oh, if only I could be a woman comic someday. I was just like, me like comedy, make jokes. Like I just liked it. And so it's what I gravitated towards, in high school and college, just like that, being a theater kid, playing the funny sidekick, all those things. And I didn't have a clear, 5-10 year plan. You can definitely ask my parents. I didn't have one, but I knew that that's what I was drawn to. And I also knew, again, thanks to my parents, that I cared about making the world a better place. And I gradually became exposed to a lot of people who went before me, who have created a lot of interesting academic work and also a lot of interesting media-driven campaigns and pop culture that really capture and are fueled by the idea that comedy and social change can go hand in hand, that comedy can help drive social change for a whole bunch of reasons that we can get into. So what became clear to me at some point, I don't know when, was that I didn't necessarily want to go all in on being a performer or a writer, a sitcom writer or whatever, but that I wanted to keep finding ways that I could combine comedy tools, comedy products, comedy projects with forwarding social change.
Wow. So I just want to touch on what a gift it is to be raised in a household that honors comedy.
Totally.
That is something that is important, that it's shared generationally between your parents and you. You know, and I say that because I was raised very similar. I mean, we love to laugh. My father was a cartoonist illustrator, so he was naturally funny. But we would have Saturday Night Live on, and we would play the Richard Pryor albums, even though,
Yep.
it was just something that was very important. But now that I'm older, I see so many households where that is not something that is prioritized. Or my friends, my children's, their friends will come over and they're like, hey, did you see that? And they have no idea what my kids are talking about because they were raised on comedy. Right or wrong, they were raised on Saturday Night Live. We would try to make them go upstairs and go to bed. They would sneak back down.
If that's wrong, I don't want to be right.
Exactly. Like SpongeBob. I loved SpongeBob. And so many of my children's friends weren't allowed to watch it. And I couldn't even understand the connection. Like, why wouldn't you? So anyway, I just think that is such a gift. And when you said Carol Burnett, oh my gosh, she was such a staple in our household. She was absolutely brilliant. It was one of my favorite times to sit there and watch her show everyone that she had on it, everything about it.
Everything.
So
everything.
Tell us a little bit about Gold, like what you created there and what you're really building for women.
Sure. So that's a natural outgrowth of all the stuff I started to say, which is that comedy is a cultural force. So it matters who makes comedy. And my, theory of change is that we need more, therefore, we need more women and, as I like to say, others, which basically means anyone who's not a straight cis white dude, although many straight cis white dudes are great at comedy. We just need more of the rest of us. And they need to not be the norm anymore. I mean, all of our late night hosts are straight white men. Come on. It's 2020. What are we doing? What are we doing? Most stand-up, there's not good research on this, but stand-up lineups are still thought to be up to 70% men all the time, which is, what are we doing? We're all here. Like it's not hard. It's like with panels, that are all men. Yes. Like it's like you have to try to create a panel that's not diverse or a lineup that's not diverse.
Right.
And, in advertising, men are more likely to be the funny one in commercials. So even that. So, and there's only one woman they haven't done this in a while, but only one woman has ever been on the Forbes list of 100 top earning comics. 100. Only one woman, Amy Schumer, has ever been on that list. They haven't done it. No, the last one they did was quite a few years ago now, but like one. And one. Okay, so now, so this matters because women are people. It matters because comedy is a job. And again, it matters because comedy is a cultural force. Comedy tells you who you should be listening to. Because when you make people laugh, you make people listen. And let's just say, like, even, I don't want to limit our conversation only to stand up, but let's use stand up as an example. When you go to a comedy club and glory be, there's a woman on the lineup or just someone who doesn't look like you or someone who's different from you. The social contract you have is that when they get on stage, you listen to them for 8 minutes. Ideally you also laugh, but you listen to them. Like what? That's what you do. That's actually transformational. If I'm it could just be listening to a white woman talk. It could be listening to a trans person talk. It could be listening to anyone who's not like you. You listen to them talk. You just listen to them for 8 minutes. When else have you done that? So it doesn't mean that people necessarily like walk in hating women and walk out a feminist. It's just that it's a drip. Ideally, but it's like a drip of normalizing women having that power to be up there alone talking into a mic and you listen.
Yes.
So it's little, but it's big, and so I just thought, man, for all these reasons, we need more women in comedy. We need to make it more easy. Look, comedy's hard for everyone. It's hard for the straightest, whitest dude. They deserve to succeed as well. But why don't we make it easier for the people for whom it's still the hardest? Why don't we try to level the playing field? Why don't we try to widen the funnel so that it becomes less of an economic issue, less of a workplace issue, and also so that, again, we have a wider variety of people contributing to this thing that is a massive cultural force, and who can make shows like One Day at a Time, like the reboot of One Day at a Time, that normalized, that was like about a quote unquote normal, regular American family, but they were also immigrants. So it just normalized, an immigrant family as a normal American, quote unquote, normal American family, but also sometimes it highlighted and showcased some of the special challenges they faced. But that was after that they had built the viewer's trust. That was after they had kind of formed a relationship with the viewer, and then they could be like, also, here's some issues we face. But it's comedy, so like, you're not being scolded, you're not being lectured to. So it's such an important delivery system, whether it's about a political issue, it may be, or not. Like, just again, if I'm on stage doing stand up and I'm just talking about, I don't know, my weird family and my annoying job, it doesn't have to be a political issue, but just the fact that people have to listen to me for 8 minutes is also transformational in its own way. So that's the idea with Gold. Let's just make it easier. Let's give women some, and again, others, a bro vibe free space to form a community, join a powerful professional network, make stuff together, collaborate on things, and build their careers or even their, creative side hustles or passion projects. Let's just make it easier so there's more of us out there.
So Lynn, you just put a whole nother layer to comedy for me, because when I think of comedy, I think it's, first of all, it's very underrated as an art form in terms of how challenging and hard it is. I mean, I don't care if you are a beginner and you're going to an open mic, terrifying. That takes so much courage to do that and to be that vulnerable. Or if you are someone who is selling out major stadiums, there is an art form to the timing, reading the room, the art of storytelling, and now you just layered on kind of a social responsibility. Do you feel like comedians, and I mean women, but maybe all comedians, feel that? Do they feel that when someone hops on the stage who is a woman or maybe a person of color or someone that isn't as do you think they carry that weight on their shoulders, or not necessarily?
I do, but I'm not saying they should. Right? Because it's unfortunate that we still do, honestly. We just want to get up there and be funny and do our jobs, right?
Yes.
Or be in a writer's room and do our jobs. Or I mean, and this could be the same for so many industries, right? Like being the one of who you are in the room, all of a sudden you're that one as opposed to just doing your job, right? So that's why normalizing is so important. And then normalizing comes with numbers. So that's why we want to, we want to make it like not so interesting that there's a woman doing comedy or whoever we are, right?
Right.
Because again, I don't want to make it only about stand-up, but if you're the only woman on a stand-up lineup, which happened throughout the 90s when I did stand-up and still happens, checks watch, in 2026, this is true, when every dude on that lineup has, I keep saying 8 minutes, whatever it is, every dude on that lineup has 8 minutes to prove that he's funny. But if you're the only woman, you have 8 minutes to prove that women are funny.
Totally.
And that's not fair. And actually, that's why it actually behooves, I think, and I'm not the first person to say this, Cameron Esposito, one of my favorite comics, who I sort of developed a lot of my theory of change from stuff that she's written, she's pointed out that, like, actually, dudes, it behooves you to have a more diverse lineup, because if it's like white dude, woman of color, white dude, who stands out? She does. And, people might leave, even if you have a great set, right? People might leave the audience going like, oh, I like that guy. What was his name? The white dude who talked about his girlfriend. It's all of them. It's all of them. So even if you're great, it's better for you to be on a diverse lineup, because then you can be you. Yes.
That's so true. And I guess the reverse is true as well. When you think of, now that you say that, I think about watching Def Comedy Jam, and then there's a white guy on there. Like, he absolutely stands out, and it's true both ways. But do you feel like people may hide when you think about people that are naturally funny, like they're just the person in the group that's making people laugh? is part of that not covering up for something, but they're being performative with their life?
Maybe, but I'm not sure that it matters. It's possible, but I think we're all performative with our lives, all of us. It might be, RuPaul said it, we're all born naked and the rest is drag, right? So we're all doing something,
Yep.
Some people gravitate toward comedy, some people gravitate toward, I don't know, fashion, whatever it takes for them to, whatever it is, it could be math.
Point.
I don't know,
Yep.
like whatever, whoever, we're all kind of choosing how we show up in a room, all of us.
Totally.
So I'm not sure, sure, people do talk about how comedy can, it can like be a deflector, for people, I guess individuals, can use comedy to kind of deflect feelings. But I don't know. I'm not saying that we don't, but you could also argue not necessarily as a counterpoint, right? We all do, and B,
Yeah.
this isn't necessarily a counterpoint, but it's just a different point, which is that comedians are so skilled comedians are so skilled at molding difficult or even traumatic topics and experiences into comedy. And that is, talk about an art form or a skill,
Totally.
because what they're doing there is actually not deflecting. What they're doing is diving into it, but finding a way to talk about this thing, this incident or this problem or this challenge or this social ill that illuminates what's wrong with it, but doesn't make light, but without making light of it. There's ways to find, there's ways to use comedy tools, and you need to be skillful to illuminate, let's say, talking about, trigger warning, talking about sexual assault, right? But using comedy to illuminate the ridiculousness of the culture that allows it to persist. But he's the swim captain. He couldn't have done that. And or whether it's about their own personal. I've seen comedians do incredible work, whether in stand-up sets or solo shows or whatever, around really profound childhood trauma that actually makes the audience feel comfortable and at home.
Yes.
You don't worry. You're not like, are they okay? Because yes, they are, because they're skilled. They know what they're doing.
Yes.
And they're using the precision of their writing and the distance that they now have. They're almost creating the distance in a salutary way to hold this thing that happened to them, whatever it is, at arm's length, and then be able to be like, okay, but really, what's funny about this? Okay, not that, but maybe this. Like looking at like a multi-sided die from Dungeons and Dragons. Like that's okay. That's not funny. Okay, okay. This side is funny, and then drawing the audience in a way that either explicitly says or telegraphs, like, I'm okay. We're going to all find the comedy in this together, and then like take it down a notch. And then you take away some of the power of whatever this bad thing is or was.
Yeah.
So it can, sure, I guess it can be like a deflector shield, but it can also be really a sort of healing bright light.
That's what I was going to say. Healing. I think comics have a way to heal the world, because sometimes when you're going through your darkest moments and you can turn the TV and someone can make you laugh, or they can, to your point, they can talk about something that is so heavy that is weighing on our heart, and you find yourself laughing at it. It's a gift. But I remember what I was going to ask you, Lynn. We were talking about just, women in comedy, and I'm wondering, you mentioned Amy Schumer being on the list. You've got the Melissa McCarthy's, the Kristen Wiggs, Maya Rudolph, Wanda Sykes. The list goes on now. Is it easier? Has that door been kind of opened, or not really?
We are grown-ups, and your listeners are grown-ups, so we can handle what I'm about to say, which is that two opposite things are true at the same time.
Okay.
One of them is, it's so much better. It's so much better for a whole bunch of reasons that we can go into, or I can point to a whole bunch of indicators that we can go into. It's also unbelievable how bad things still are. And both are true. Both are true. So yeah, there's still, lineups that are have one woman. There, Nick's Comedy Stop in Boston. I see you, Nick. You put this on Instagram, so I'm gonna say that not Nick the person, Nick the play. I see you because you put this on Instagram. Over last summer, had a show called Chicks at Nick's that they advertised with the heads of the women who were performing on disembodied Barbie legs. Now, those women commented in the comments that they were like, ha ha ha, that's funny. That's fine. I don't care. They can. I'm not judging the individual women. I'm just like, if you're doing that in 2019, if you're doing that in 2026, Nix, you're telling me that you're not that interested in supporting women comics or having women in your audience, and you're kind of telling me you're bad at your job. So that's just dumb. And that happened in 2026. So maybe it was 25. I think it was last summer. It doesn't matter. And that's just a tiny thing. Like, that's just a tiny thing. But I know women absolutely are still complaining about, and rightly, about bias in lineups, bias in writers' rooms, bias in pay, bias in, still being called comedians as if we're like an auxiliary to the real guys, So, but at the same time, it's to just name a bunch of women. That isn't even like that's. We can sit here all day and name fantastic, famous women comics, and that wouldn't even be. That wouldn't even scratch the surface of just. It's not just that women. That there are more, which is great, or I don't know if there are more, but more visibility and more normalizing of women doing comedy. It's also that women have power in comedy spaces. Women have women are showrunners. Women are women are development executives. Women are choosing the shows that get made. Women are doing the hiring. So that means something. And also there's technology, which is not magical, but it means that technology has for sure democratized access, meaning you can build your brand, but you can build your brand without ever getting on a stage. I don't recommend it, but it would depending on what you're doing. You can build. I shouldn't say I don't recommend it. You can build your brand depending on what your brand is, without ever, without living in New York, Chicago, LA. Boston. You can build your brand on social. You can, a lot has changed with the way Samantha Bee's show pioneered this. They certainly were one of the big ones to pioneer this, if not the first ones. And that was doing blind, what do you call it? Not blind admissions, but blind hiring. They would read people's packets, which are these like things you have to submit to work on a late night show. That show, you provide examples of what you would write that match what the show already does. And they instituted reading them blind. They didn't know, if your name was so-and-so and your dad was on the Harvard Lampoon. They didn't know anything. And look, guess what? They wound up with a very diverse and talented staff. So, and that is becoming more and more the norm, that we're not just going to hire you because your dad went, my dad did improv with your dad at Harvard, or whatever. So, right. So which is all of The Simpsons, but we love The Simpsons, but still. Anyway, so no shade to The Simpsons, but things have changed. So the access is not. It still takes 10 years to be an overnight success, but there is certainly some of the gatekeeping has changed in a very profound way.
That's amazing. Have you ever read Malcolm Gladwell's book, Blink? Mm-hmm. He talks about that phenomenon. He talked about it, though, with orchestras. They used to only have men as the first chair, only. And the maestros would argue, because they're the better. They're stronger, and they started doing blind auditions. And they could not see who was auditioning, and every time it was a woman. It's
I'm telling you.
Anyway, so, Lynn, what type of woman comes to Gold Comedy? Why are they coming to you? Do they want to be a comedian? Do they want to do this they want to just become funnier? They want to do something in their pastime? Like, what kinds of women do you see?
Typically, we see women, and we also have many non-binary members, many, all sorts of others who are collectively seeking the one thing that we can say to everyone, and the one thing we can say about everyone, is that we have no bro vibe. And in
robot.
a world where people use many different pronouns and have many different shifting identities, that's what we can promise. And that's really what people are. That's really what people are escaping / looking for. But yes, predominantly women. Many are what we call comedy serious. Many are beginning or in the middle of a comedy career. Many of them are adding to a comedy career. Like we have Benita, who is from Louisville, who's awesome, and she had done mostly acting and improv. Actually, she wound up teaching improv for us, but then she started doing stand-up with us, and now she performs stand-up all over the East Coast, and she says, "I blame you, Lynn." But and she's a really successful stand-up, so she amplified her career. We have people who are already doing kind of their own thing but want some collaboration. We have sketch teams. We have teams that make digital sketches like the ones you see that are like online or associated with SNL. We put the teams together, like they apply and we assemble the teams. So someone might have been like just sort of a sketch writer on her own, or an actor, or even like a producer or a sound person. And then we help them get to the next level by putting them on a team where they can, find their collaborators and do it together. We also have a lot of women who, yes, may not be either pursuing a first or new comedy career, as in quitting their day job and making an entire pivot, but they come to us because they are ready to really dive into a creative side hustle or a comedy related or entertainment related passion project. So, for example, we have a lot of women who may even have been like peripherally involved in entertainment, like maybe marketing, and we have others who are like veterinary surgeons and actuaries and all sorts of other things, but who are like, for example, I have an idea in my head that is living rent free in my head and my notes app for a decade, and it is time that I figure out what to do with it, but I don't know what, and I don't know how. So we have a class that is kind of a perfect fit for that psychographic, that where you learn with a producer from Broad City how to develop that idea, whatever it is, typically a TV show, but not necessarily. It could be film, could be unscripted, web series. How to take that idea that you don't know what to do, just in your head, like, I don't know, a comedy set in a veterinary office, I don't know, something. And you're like, I should, that thing you have where you're like, I should really do that someday. And your friends are like, you should do that. And you're like, yeah, but I don't know how. Like, what? Yes. It's not a lack of confidence, Tracy. It's not a lack of confidence. These women have plenty of confidence. They literally just don't know what to do. Like, nobody tells you. No one's like, oh, here, just Google it. You can't really Google how to like develop and pitch an idea to, at that level of depth and the level of professional, whatever the word is, what's the word I'm looking for? The level that it needs to be at for you to actually make it happen, right? So Claude can only tell you so much. So so this class is that it helps you develop. Ryan, the producer from Broad City, is amazing, and she helps you develop the idea until you are like it's in your soul. You can answer any question about it. Why now, why you, and then you can start creating your slick deck and your presentation and all those things. So you come out with just being able to live and breathe this idea that has already been, living in your head or your drawer, and then you come out with the capacity to actually pitch it and know what to do next. And so there's a lot of women in that class who again may be peripherally involved in entertainment or not, but who are extremely serious about, maybe they have a little more time, maybe they're about to have an empty nest, or maybe they've achieved a certain level in their career where they're still working hard, but they're not like grinding every day, and they just have like a little bit more headspace. So we have a lot of, that's their sort of, and there a lot of them are like in their 40s, 50s, like older, and they're really, really serious. So I don't want to make a distinction about like, the distinctions we make are not about how serious someone is. It's just about what they specifically want to be working on. and how much is that, like, how much of the pie plate of their career is that taking up?
Well, I think everyone should minimally take an improv class, just minimally. It's freeing. It makes you better at just about anything to be on your feet, and they're just fun.
Yep.
What actually makes someone good at comedy? Is there a way to simplify that?
Working and listening. What I mean by work is reps. I mean, Malcolm Gladwell talks about that too. Like, it's reps. I mean, you could have your, if you have, like, think of the funniest person you know, and then think of the hardest working person you know. If the hardest working person you know is going to do better in comedy if they put their mind to it. They just are. And it's reps. It sounds unglamorous. It's just like kind of like any other job. It's the practice. But it's also listening. That's what people don't. It goes back to what I was saying at the beginning. You mentioned reading the room, which is crucial. Yes. It really trains you not just to be the funny one, to be the loud one, to always have a joke. It's I mean, because that's also exhausting. So it's like knowing when there's not a joke. Knowing when you need a minute, knowing when you have to, if you're doing crowd work, there's not a joke yet. Ask some more questions,
Yes.
It's having a sense of how to connect with an audience, which is also just people. And that also takes practice. But I would say those are the two, the reps and listening are really, everything else is is necessary, but like table stakes. Yes. But the secret, of course, you have to learn how to write a joke. Of course, of course, but the two that are just that make all the difference: reps and listening.
And I was going to offer up being observant. I think some of the greatest comedians, they find that one little thing, that most people may just miss. Yeah, and it just makes it so relatable.
You could. This is not the only place I would put it, but you could put that with reps, and here's why. And it's something I actually recommend to people if they're just like, where do I start? Or I don't know if I want to take a class, but it might be fun to just have some more humor in my life. Or the people who say, I would do comedy, but nothing funny happens to me, which is not a prerequisite for doing comedy. It's not. Okay, that's storytelling. Maybe not even that. So what I recommend to people is, I don't care if it's a notebook or your notes app or whatever, just whatever it is, write it down. You notice someone's, I don't know, something that someone says to someone else on the subway, someone wearing two different sneakers on the subway. I don't know. I live in the city, you can tell. But but I was just thinking even I'm drinking water and I'm getting lipstick on my cup, right? So lipstick on my cup is not funny. It's just a thing, right? But I don't know. It could be funny. So I would just write down lipstick on my cup. And then I would start, and if I sat and thought about it for a second, I'd be like, okay, right. My kids always tease me because they always know which cups I've been using. Or and that's not funny yet. It's not a joke, but I don't know. It's a thing.
It's kind of funny.
Now, I don't know. It could be. It's not a joke yet, but it's something. And, and maybe it's nothing. But if I don't write it down, I'm never going to know. Right.
Yes.
And you will forget. I don't care how young you are. It's not about age. You will forget. If you think you're that could be something, I'm going to write it down, but I'll do it later. Nope, you're going to forget. So I just think write down everything, or at least talk into your voice thing, whatever it is. And then, every week or two, just see what you wrote down. And probably 90% of it is you don't even remember what it is. And it's just eh. But maybe two things are oh, and it gives you an idea for something else. And that's practice, because we notice things all day long, but what we don't do is notice that we're noticing. And the notebook or the voice memos is what helps you create the practice. And that's why the sort of being observant that you're talking about, it's because comics have typically trained themselves to notice those things. Yes. Some of them are automatically better than others, who knows, but they still have to train themselves to notice those itty bitty things and write them down. And so can you.
Who do you find that's funny? Who would you consider someone that makes you laugh?
I'm actual comedians these days.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I'm obsessed with a few. I mean, there's, all right, I'll give you my eternal ones. I mentioned Cameron Esposito. I love her. I am obsessed with Maria Bamford. And I'm obsessed with Bob the drag queen, who is an amazing drag queen and also extremely talented stand up. He does just stand up. Like he's great. I love, there's a comic. I don't know if you ever saw the show. She's not obscure, but she was on the show Mythic Quest, which was one of my favorite comedies.
No.
She was the beleaguered HR person. Her name is Naomi Ekperigin, and she's always been one of my favorite comics. She's on like late night a bunch, and she's easy to find. I'm waiting for her to like fully break through. But those are some of my favorites.
Wow, I'll have to look them up. Maria Bamford, I think I'm familiar with her, but I thought you were going to say, like, is it Nikki Glazer? Is that her name, Nikki?
Oh yeah, sure. I like her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, so I wanted to weave in a little bit of human design with this. So I mentioned are you familiar with human design at all?
A little bit from you.
Okay, a little bit. Okay, so you're a generator with the sacral authority, and all that means is, I'm a generator as well. You transmit beautiful energy when you're doing something you love. Like just talking to you now, that's generator energy. But if you're doing something that you don't love, it drains. It drains that energy. And then you have sacral authority, literally meaning like your gut talks to you. If you listen, your body is telling you what it has energy for. So if I were to say right now, like, hey, Lynn, let's go to the Bahamas, you might be like, no, that sounds horrible. Like your body will tell you, you can feel it, but a lot of times we override it. Or you'll feel a visceral yes. So the thing is with women, it's with all of us, it's just listening in again, not overriding what our body's telling us. But the 2-4 profile I wanted to bring up with you, because what that is the line 2 is what they call the hermit in human design. What that means is solitude for you is a non-negotiable. Like when you want your quiet alone time, it is magical. It's like that's when you can really hone your skills. And then you'll come back and you'll be as social as you want to be, later on, but you have to kind of honor that time. Also, line 2s are born with a natural gift. They're just something that's effortless to them where they don't even necessarily maybe see it as a gift. And typically, sometimes they can't see it. Others have to kind of tap you and say, Lynn, you're really good at this. And then the line 4 is, I'm also a line 4. It just means that our network is gold. Our opportunities in life are going to come through connections. They're going to come through people kind of that we know. So I'm just curious. That was just a little taste. How does that feel to you? Does any of that resonate with you?
Oh yeah. Especially I don't know if I really believe in the designations introvert, extrovert, because most people I meet are like, I'm both. So I'm like, okay.
There's a new one, by the way, but go ahead.
Oh, what is that one? Because
it's called outrovert. I just learned about this. So there's introvert, extrovert, ambivert, which is kind of both.
Yeah. Okay.
Then outrovert. That's the latest.
Okay. But the thing about solitude is so true. Like I'm an only child. I'm used to, but I also like cannot. It's like both. Like I cannot. It's like one is food and one is water, right? Like being alone and being and collaborating. Like I'll be alone for a while and it'll be great, and then I'll be like, I'm thirsty, and like I can't like not be with other people.
Yes.
And then I'll be like, I'm full, and then have to be away. So it's both. Yeah, for sure.
So being a 2-4, you have to learn that balance, because one part of you is saying we need the solitude, and it is, you need it. It's golden. And then the other part's like, we need our people, we need our network, we need our connections. So yeah, it's just kind of finding that balance, but it's just fun. But Lynn, before we go to the speed round, I'm just curious, is there anything that we haven't touched on that you feel is important to share, or a message you would like to leave with people?
I really would like to leave, especially women, I would like to unburden women from feeling like they have to like produce confidence. I was just reading an article about it today, so it's like on my mind, but I've been thinking about this for a long time. Like, you just don't. Like, you're fine. Typically, what saps confidence is not you. It's the persistent bias against you. Like, imposter syndrome, I don't know. Maybe you're just in a room that wasn't built for you. Maybe you're just not getting support and feedback to support. I mean, maybe, come on, I'm just tired of it being our problem. And I'm tired of it because also the fixes don't work, right? We're like, I'm more confident, and yet there's still patriarchy. It's like, it doesn't, I don't, and so I just wish that, I just want women to kind of follow their, follow the tractor beam that's like, for me it was comedy and others, and writing, other stuff that draws them. And if they're not feeling super confident about it, that's normal, because nobody does. But it's not your problem. It's theirs. And just do the thing anyway. Don't wait for them to give you confidence. Don't wait for you to give you confidence. Just do the thing.
Do the thing.
It's just a whole red herring. It's just a whole red herring. Don't worry about just forget about confidence. Just forget it. Don't worry about it. Just do the thing. Sometimes you're nervous. Sometimes you're not. Just do the thing. Just forget it.
Do it anyway.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Well, Lynn, what makes you come alive?
Dinner parties.
Ooh.
Yeah, I just love a dinner party. Not with my people, and
Sure.
just like good food, the right number of people, so that you're all kind of talking like at once. But sometimes you break out, like maybe 6 people, and
Yes.
delicious food that's kind of easy, not fussy, that just keeps coming, and fantastic conversation that's not necessarily like, so what do you do, but just like topics that flow, and laugh and laugh and laugh, and good music, and dinner parties. Especially if they're outside.
Love that. Are you outside right now, by the way?
No, I'm near, like, it's a really beautiful sunny day in New York City. I was tempted. I was almost going to go outside because it's so nice out, but it's also New York City. So there's sometimes, and we live, the hospital's like right there. So sometimes there are sirens and things. So
I love it, though. It makes me feel like I'm in New York right now. Well, what is a song that instantly shifts your energy or makes you feel something?
oh my God, there are so many. I was actually worried about this before, because I was like, is it fair to say literally everything that Dolly Parton, Prince, and Brandy Carlisle and Aretha Franklin ever sang? Because I don't think that's.
It's an answer.
But then I have this one random, like, skinny white dude song that also gets me on my feet every time, which is Mbop by Hanson. It's a bop.
God.
It's a literal bop. Yes. It's the boppiest. It's the original bop.
It absolutely is.
Yeah, but and Mark Anthony too. I was so tired, and I put on Mark Anthony last night, and I couldn't stop dancing. And also Mark Anthony, all of them. I love me. I just love. I very much relate, like, certain artists and music to, like, the soundtrack of my life, like what I was listening to when I'm not the only one, but like it's a big deal for me. Yeah, so it was really hard to choose.
It's an impossible question, but
yeah.
Mark Anthony, can we just talk about Mark Anthony for a second?
Whoa.
I mean, come on. I'm going to use the word again, underrated. He has one of the most beautiful voices of our time.
I know. I agree. He's beautiful. Just, I know. And that song, the one that kills me, it's really popular. The one that's Voy a vivir, voy a bailar. That song, it's like you can't be. It's okay. So women, if you're worried that you're not confident enough, just put on that song. That's it, and forget about confidence. Just have fun.
Okay, I'm gonna have to pull them up on my Spotify. How about a book that cracked you open or stayed with you long after the last page?
Well, my favorite opening line. I have a million favorite books, but my favorite opening line of a book ever, because it's so subversive and revolutionary, is the opening line. It's a great book too. Is the opening line of The Woman Warrior by Maxine Hong Kingston. I read it in college, and the opening line is, and I might get a word wrong, but it's basically this: you must not ever tell anyone, comma, said my mother, what I'm about to tell you. And the whole book is what her mother just told her. So she's totally telling. But,
right.
So it's just, I was like, what? And so I'm like, that's the best opening line.
That really
and
is.
And the book delivers.
I was like this. Well, what is she telling you? That's a great opener.
The whole book is what her mother is about to tell her.
Your favorite little indulgence or guilty pleasure?
I don't know if it's guilty, but it's got to be truffle potato chips.
Ooh.
Or truffle popcorn in a pinch, but truffle fries, anything with in the truffle trifecta of potato chips, fries, or popcorn. I love that. I love that flavor. Love it.
What's one thing that always reminds you how beautiful life really is?
Um, okay, bragging. It is crappy, but we do have a roof deck here in Brooklyn, and it's kind of falling apart and splintered, whatever. But I go up there almost every day, even when it's cold, and there's always something beautiful. Like it's like the Statue of Liberty, or the fact that like my little, the little buds that come back on the plants that I have up there, or just like seeing someone else a few blocks away out on their deck, like whatever it is, or just a particularly good sunrise or sunset or whatever, the obvious stuff. But it's all about the deck. Oh, that's the song I was going to mention. That's the song I did come up with one. The Supreme song, "Up the Ladder to the Roof." That's the song.
Oh, perfect.
It's such a good song.
Up the Ladder to the Roof.
It's like Motown, but a little gospel-y and a little bit like, it's so good. It's the best song. So yeah.
I love your range. I love your musical range. So Lynn, tell everybody how they can get in touch with you, or the best way to get in contact with you, or find out more about Gold Comedy.
Sure, thank you. You can visit goldcomedy.com. You can find us on Instagram at Gold Comedy. And also, I'll provide for you in the show notes. You can also just make an appointment to talk to me. Because people often have questions about how Gold works and what class is right for them and when is the right time to start and what's it all about. So I'm happy to just get on the horn and answer any of those. So I'll send you a link for that as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sure.
So I want to share something with you. This is something I've recently started. At the end of each episode, I just pass along a little love note from the previous guest. They don't know who it's going to go to.
Oh.
Just something simple. And so for you, your note is from Ilana Auerbach, and she's the creator of The Sure Thing Love Experiment. She's also the author of The Sure Thing, which is all about helping women reconnect with their bodies, their desires, and their sense of pleasure. So definitely check out that episode. But her note is to notice how often you say, "I'm sorry."
Ugh.
So many of us use it out of habit, and it can quietly just shrink us. So save it for when you truly mean it, and give yourself permission to take up space without apologizing for who you are.
Thank you. I love that one. I try to tell my kids that one. And yeah, I've changed it I have like a little, this is like 1,000 times yes. I have like a little macro on my, for like writing things fast. And it doesn't say "I'm sorry." It says "Thank you for your patience."
Yes.
Because I never say sorry unless I actually have to apologize for something. So I'm so glad to receive that note. And I still have to work on the habit, but I am committed to stopping it.
Perfect. Well, thank you. And to everyone listening, maybe this is your reminder that life doesn't have to feel so serious all the time. You're allowed to laugh. You're allowed to feel good. And until next time, keep getting high on life, one beautiful fix at a time. Thanks, Lynn.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to A Beautiful Fix. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe and leave a quick review to help others find us. And if you'd like to share your own beautiful fix or join me as a guest, reach out anytime at Tracy@abeautifulfix.com. Looking forward to next time.